Procrastination is the act of delaying or putting off tasks until the last minute. Studies show that young people are more likely to procrastinate than older age groups. I asked students if they procrastinate in their everyday lives.
Yes, I do find myself procrastinating in everyday life.
I procrastinate usually in all areas, and I think it's due to just, honestly, a lack of motivation.
I procrastinate because I don't want to get the work done or I just get distracted.
Oh, I definitely procrastinate in my everyday life, especially with my schoolwork and it being like the end of the year. I've just worked so hard for so long that I want to be done, and so I'm procrastinating a lot of my schoolwork.
I spoke with students ranging from 6th grade to 12th, along with a psychologist, to uncover the true cause of procrastination.
So I'm Katarina Hambley. I have an LMHC, so I'm a licensed mental health clinician, and I have my own private practice. Started off private practice, now I'm a group practice. I started right before COVID. Procrastination, when I first got this assignment, I thought, okay, procrastination. Do I procrastinate? So the opposite of that would be organization, right? How many people are organized? I'm thinking, all right, procrastination. Why do people procrastinate? Well, came up with a list. You've learned procrastination from role models. So for example, codependency tendencies. So basically, if other people have kind of modeled that for you, you're gonna pick up a little bit of that there. And also, codependency can happen when caretakers or loved ones can model taking care of things for you. So for example, like enabling doing the tasks instead of like allowing for, doing with, and kind of cheering them on so they can be independent in it.
Personally, I feel like I'm really independent, but I know a lot of other people, like my younger brother, he's very codependent on my parents, and like some of my friends are really codependent on their parents. And I feel like sometimes the more that they are doing for them, it's hurting them, because then they won't feel apt to do it themselves because they've always had someone that's going to do it for them. So, for instance, my brother, my mom does a lot of stuff for my brother. She makes his lunch, she lays out his clothes, and he's almost 15 years old, and my mom has tried asking him to do it, and he'll just procrastinate doing it because he's so used to having her do it for him. So I can definitely see how codependence can affect procrastination.
You also don't think that you'll be effective at the task at hand. You don't think that you'll be good enough at completing it. And then you have a bias against a particular type of task where you're not sure. Like if it's something like you want to complete an assignment and you're like, oh, I don't feel like doing it.
Sometimes like it'll be like a topic or something I don't like or I don't want to do, and then I'll just like not do it.
I would say I put off mainly my schoolwork just because it's hard and it takes me a long time.
Stuff like cleaning, writing essays, homework.
I put off a lot of schoolwork, like studying or doing homework for certain difficult subjects, and also just other day-to-day tasks that might take a while or I just kind of start to dread to do.
I put off doing my schoolwork, I procrastinate, and I just my mind goes to other places.
I put off doing my chores, my homework, big projects, or anything that just has a faraway due date.
My homework and studying for my tests.
Or your time estimates are a little off of like you're not sure about that. And then you focus less on the gains of the future and more on the gains of the present.
An example of students focusing on the gains of the present instead of the future is using their phones while procrastinating.
I think my phone is one of the biggest things, especially social media, because like your phone just gives you like that sense of like dopamine, and like it's just like more entertaining. Like I can watch any video, talk to any friends anytime that I want, and it's in like the palm of my hand. Or I could go and sit and do my math homework or my biology homework.
Yeah, I would say probably my phone contributes the most, because whether I'm on social media or a streaming platform, I find myself wasting a lot of time on my devices instead of doing my work. And maybe if I was just to power off my phone, that I wouldn't be such a procrastinator, because I just have that distraction constantly with me.
Having my phone in my room.
My phone is definitely a big influence on my procrastination. Just like if I'm doing some schoolwork or something, I answer a question, I might pick it up, go on TikTok for a few minutes.
Additionally, anxiety can also lead to procrastination.
As a clinician, depression or anxiety causes you to delay taking action. I feel a lot of times, like if you're depressed, you're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing it, or anxiety can kick in where it's like, all right, I don't think I'll be good enough, or there's too much to do, or I'll just wait till the end. And sometimes there's discomfort, intolerance leads to disengagement from the task where you don't do it at all.
So because I have a learning disability, sometimes when I have like a lot of work I have to do, or like a big quiz coming up or a test, I get like really anxious and like I feel really overwhelmed really quickly. So I spend a lot of time worrying about how much work I have and how long it's going to take me and like my grades and stuff, that it makes it hard for me to just get it started and work on it. So I spend my time worrying about it and procrastinating doing my work rather than just like getting into it and getting it done.
There can also be a positive side to procrastination.
So sometimes what it can do, interestingly enough, is offer more time to plan, right? So if you are able to get that extension at school or from your professor, it offers you a little bit more time to be like, all right, I have a little bit more time on this. So, but making sure you take, consideration into that time. It requiring you to work more efficiently, and it can also increase your motivation too.
Now that I've become such a procrastinator that I'm just dependent on doing my work at the last minute, and I have become like akin, I guess, to doing it at the last minute because I'm just used to it, and I always manage to get a good grade in the end. And because I work so hard, and even if I'm procrastinating, let's say I start my homework at like 6, I always am able to get it done even if I'm not doing it right after school.
Usually it doesn't affect me negatively because I always get the work done in the end.
While some are able to balance their work, for others, procrastination becomes a problem.
It affects your work. It affects important tasks. Getting important tasks done. It affects your finances, being able to take care of your bills. Your rhythm and routine goes off, where you're late on things, and then you're having to like hustle and bustle. Sometimes what I find happens is students will wait till the very last minute to complete a task, and then find themselves overwhelmed by completing it, and then ask for an extension sometimes, or will be like, I'm not doing it anyway, I'm just going to put this off and I'm going to fail the class, or sometimes stuff like that can happen.
I think last year was the biggest time that procrastination affected me the most. Last year I took a really hard AP class, and I was procrastinating my work because each chapter was like 30 pages long and I had to take really tedious notes on it, and I just like dreaded doing it, so I would wait until really late in the night, but then I'd be up until like 1 or 2 in the morning, so then I'd be really overtired and it would affect my mood and my sleep, and it just overall wasn't good. So that procrastination was definitely the worst part of my school last year.
Psychologist Miss Hamley shares her personal tips to stop procrastination.
I'm pretty organized for the most part. I use a to-do list quite often. I actually recommend clients to also do that as well. I got my handy dandy sticky notes and my pads and my weekly planner. Make sure all of that stays intact. So the biggest thing is, at the beginning of every week, I make a to-do list, and then at the end of the week I cross off what I've been, I look at the list. If I've been able to cross off what I've completed, then I run a new list for the following week. So what I do find happens, though, going to procrastination, is the things that I'm putting off, the vision is like a longer term goal. I have a tendency to keep them on the list but never do them. So that's a little bit of procrastination around like, all right, I know I want to take a class to get my PhD, or I want to take another class, or I'm looking at far out, so I tend to kind of leave it on the list, keep it on the list, and not move on from it. So what I would encourage in those situations, what I have found myself to do that's helped, is adding a date or a deadline.
Usually when I have like friends coming over, like a big event, I'll make like a bunch of to-do lists of things that I need to get done before that big event. And as that like event draws closer within the weeks or the days, or sometimes even the hours, like that'll motivate me to get all my stuff done.
Sometimes I'll get in my head around this, practice what you preach, right? I'm telling my clients, hey, you have to take care of going to the gym and going for your walks and making sure you take care of your wellness and your coping skills. Well, sometimes I do procrastinate about that for myself because I get so busy and I'm always doing. So sometimes, yeah, which I should prioritize for that for myself.
Ms. Hambley speaks on the conditioning of procrastination.
I feel like it's conditioning. It's if you've trained your frontal cortex to kind of work in a way that you've developed it over time, like learning a certain way, then hopefully you can change, like you can keep that habit kind of going. It's habit forming. If you haven't, that's okay. Like I feel like if there's places where like I've fallen through or haven't recognized something or for example, fallen through on procrastinated on something, sorry, then working on that muscle memory. Okay, I've done that. I know what I've done not so well with this in the past. What can I do to rectify this? So that it's like working that muscle. It's like kind of like learning piano for the first time, and you're conditioned to learn something a specific way, and all of a sudden somebody tells you, hey, learn this, it's habit forming, right? Try to learn it this way. It might be easier for you. And again, it's just conditioning that muscle and working that muscle memory again.
Students discuss if they will procrastinate in adulthood.
No, I'm trying to quit right now, and like I want to get a job. I want to be an OT. Like you can't procrastinate in that job.
Usually I'm really aware about my procrastination because I have a learning disability, and I know that my work like takes me like a longer time to do. But I definitely have been procrastinating more, being that it's the end of the year. And I mean, everyone procrastinates, and I'm sure I will in adulthood, but that's just a habit that I'd like to get rid of.
Probably not, because like if you procrastinate when you're an adult, you're gonna get like fired from your job. So I'm not trying to have that.
I'd like to say I won't procrastinate in adulthood, but we all know, like, we're all gonna procrastinate in adulthood, and it's a habit that's really hard to break, and a lot of people just can't break it.
No, I don't, because I think I'm going to have a good job and work a lot of hours, so I won't be able to.
I think I still will be a procrastinator, but I don't think I will have as many things to be able to have to procrastinate. Like I won't have homework and stuff. But if there's ever like a project in college or in work, I might find myself also waiting till the last minute to do it, yes.
I'm going to aim to stop procrastinating in the future by giving myself less phone breaks and just getting rid of my phone as a whole when I'm trying to do something that I need to be productive for.
I thought of a book that I read actually some time ago. It was called The Psychology of Procrastination by Hayden Pinch. He's a PhD. And he talks about understanding your habits, finding motivation, and helping get things done. So I thought that was helpful.
I would say I could improve my procrastination in the future by like not having my phone near me, so that I won't feel the need to use it or feel the need to want to use it. Maybe being in a more like quiet place, like with less distractions, because I feel like the more that's going on around me, the more I'm apt to like procrastinate doing my work, or like take a break and then like procrastinate picking it back up again. So I feel like staying away from my phone and using a more quiet space would help me not procrastinate.
Psychologists suggest the following steps for overcoming procrastination.
So a couple of things. Take responsibility. It starts with you. Avoid blaming others. That's a big one. I didn't get it done because of, right? And then committing to address it, right? Advocating for yourself around like, yeah, I kind of did fall through here, and I'm going to meet with my professor around, making sure that I get this up to speed. And then putting your mental health in check too. That's a big one for me, only because if you do notice that you're becoming anxious or depressed, and it could be affecting some of that, it's better to talk to a professional just to get some extra supports on how you can manage your wellness management.